Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Adam in the Garden Path. Today, let's consider the Cain and Abel story. I'm not going to retell the story. We all know that it involved sacrifice, and that we know that Cain was jealous and envious of Abel's sacrifice being accepted by Allah, and in a fit of rage, he kills his brother. So we have the story of the first murder. And their hadith connected to this, and then it's discussed in more detail within the broader prophetic tradition, within Judaism, within Christianity, within many of the extra canonical books and scrolls from 2,000 years ago plus. But what I wanted us to consider is parental loss. Because I was thinking about this story, and I was thinking about Adam and Hawa, alayhum salam, and about how intensely painful this must have been. That they were the first parents to lose their children. They lost both of their children that day. Think about this. They lost Abel to murder. Like this was like Habil he died in a very tragic, dramatic way, in a bloody way, in a horrific way. Whereas his brother Cain, Kabil, he is now in some of the accounts, he's in exile. He's gone. He has to leave his family. He's no longer able to be present with his family. He's a murderer now. He murdered his brother. So now we've got a situation where two parents, a mother and a father, who loved their children, have now lost both of them in the same day. And how painful this must be. So, we should be compassionate with those who have lost children to violence, to illness, and we should pray for them. We should be there for them. But by the same token, we should also be there for parents who have lost their children to criminality, who've gone down some violent or extreme route because they've lost their children. And it doesn't always have to be through death. How many mothers and fathers have lost their children to criminality and their child is locked away in prison for many years, sometimes for life? We all know of the stories of mothers who love their children that did horrific things. And they love their child so much that they will travel by bus several hours each way to have 10, 15, 20 minutes with their child where they may or may not be able to touch their child, where they may be able to hug him briefly or speak to him. And they live for these moments of connection. And they're in tremendous sorrow. And they pray for their child and they weep for their child. And the thing is, that child is a grown adult in these instances, but I was thinking about Cain, how many beautiful experiences and moments he must have shared with his mother, with his father, with his brother before this moment. Think about the worst things that you have ever done or experienced in your life, and that you will always have some kind of, it has a negative resonance. And yet you look back and just maybe moments before, you might have been laughing and experiencing some beauty with that same person, or with, it's just interesting to think about how things can change in a moment. And I think that it's important with everything that we're dealing with in the world right now, this is the most traumatized the entire world has been simultaneously and collectively, much more so than World War I and World War II. So, we are in World War III. Arguably, we are in the Malhama, the Great Slaughter. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. For those with eyes to hear, eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart to feel, know, and understand, then you'll recognize what I'm saying. Contemplate this. So what does this mean if we are in such an intensively traumatized state? This means that it is up to each one of us to take responsibility for our suffering, for our sorrow, for our pain, to take responsibility for the sins that we have done, that we have engaged in, because sin always leads to disharmony and disconnection. Always. with nature around us, with the earth around us, with the community around us, with our family, with our friends, within our body and our minds. Like, it damages our spiritual immune system and leaves us open to dis-ease and possession. And when I say possession, you might think I'm automatically talking about the shayateen, and I am to some extent, but possession means ownership by others, control by others. If someone controls you, then they own you in that moment. So we have to master our minds, master our lives, so that we are not mastered by others. That's why we are to be slaves and servants only to the truth, not to any other person, not to any system, not to any idea or ideology, to truth and truth alone. And as Muslimin, we are responsible. It is our deen to help those who are weak, innocent, and vulnerable. So we are to end all tyranny, all oppression, all enslavement, all slavery, all types of slaveries. And we are to come into an upright state. So part of this process of Tawbah and Tazkiyah is purifying our bodies, purifying our minds, purifying our environments, reading our reality, reading the labels on everything and everyone, to see things as they accurately are, and to draw near unto the truth. And in this path, we need to cultivate empathy, because many of us, like if we talk about like the heart sealing path of the devils. So the devils have their hearts sealed, but we know about people who are on the pathological spectrum, who are narcissistic, sociopathic, psychopathic. They're pathological. I would argue that that's the heart sealing path. Some people have predispositions for various reasons. That's another video, inshallah. But imagine that each of us may have ice crystals around our heart, and it's a heart sealing process. And through drawing near to Allah and cultivating empathy and connection to others, by cultivating compassion and mercy for others and ourselves, those ice crystals melt and our heart begins to expand. So I want us to think about it in these lines. We can turn the tide. We can reverse the impact of devilry in our world. We can heal from profound traumas. We are such an amazing species created by a magnificent creator. So, and he has put so much, he's programmed us with everything that we need to get out of this mess. We have to be rectified. And this involves opening our hearts and sharpening our minds. And you know that also means sharpening our tongues, because we have to speak correctly. We have to speak against that which is corrupt and evil and wrong. So the top thing with the greater struggle, the struggle against the nafs that incites to evil, the struggle that incites, the struggle against the nafs that incites to selfish expression, is becoming more selfless, identifying with others, connecting with others, actively cultivating empathy and compassion for others. So think about those parents. As an access point, think about the parents who have lost their children in various ways. Many people are losing their children right now, if you have open eyes. Pray for those people. Many have made tremendous mistakes, and they are going to feel such guilt, such sorrow. And we need to be there for them in many ways, as much as we can. And those whose children made unhealthy and disastrous choices for themselves, pray for them, but also pray for their parents and pray for their families, because they have been suffering tremendous loss. So, we are all one human family, and we need to heal our family units. So this begins with you. It begins with me. It begins with us. And it always begins with our heart. So anyway, may we purify our hearts. May we purify our bodies. May we purify our minds. May we be rectified and made upright. And may we live beautifully and excellently. May we reharmonize, and may we heal ourselves and our world, inshallah, with the great healer's help. Because Allah is the healer of hearts, the healer of bodies, the healer of families. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.